Hey, it's your friend Patti Sampson here, and I am recording a video for HighLevel World. I love HighLevel, and I'm excited to be here to do this for you. I was in a group last week, and a fine young man, I must say he's young, but I got on the phone with him, he sounded young, that asked about how to set it up so that you had a form that someone filled out that would actually load into another sub account to trigger a workflow. Because basically what he's doing is he wants to turn on all the drip campaigns or the workflows. I'm in real estate, so I say drip campaigns all the time, but turn on a workflow for his people in different sub accounts, and he wanted to try to automate it as much as he possibly could. So I'm gonna give a shout out to Dan for requesting this, and that's what I'm going to show you today on how to do it. We do have a bit of a snag because there's an issue with HighLevel that seems to be a kind of a glitch, but I'm going to show you a workaround for it. And I have a request in the HighLevel to try to get it fixed, but who knows? Maybe you guys won't have the same problem I'm having, but I'll show it to you here in a minute. Hey, that's me. So I actually want to stop really quick and just say I recorded the whole video and then decided I would do a quick workflow for you so that you can understand the process. Because if you couldn't see, I'm flipping between two different accounts. So I want to give you kind of a workflow on how this works, so it might help you, or kind of a, just a flow. So let's explain how this works. I built this in Canva, so just now in a minute. So here's what we got. This is you. You're the agency owner. This is your client. Your client is a sub account owner. And this is your client's client. Okay, so what happens is your client here has said, hey, I want you to help me turn on drip campaigns or workflows because I never want to go into my account, right? So if they're never going to go into their account, they can't turn these things on. You're going to do it for them, but they have to fill out a form. So this is you, this is them, and this is who they want the campaign turned on for. So they need to basically order that through a form. So we have you are going to build a form in your main account. So this is not your agency account. This is your sub account where you run all your business, right? So you're going to go create a form that is going to be an order form. You're going to give it to them, and they're going to have it handy when they want you to turn on campaigns. They're going to fill out the form. Once that form happens, it will automatically go here. It says your clients and their clients are going to load into your account. So that person that they said in that form, they said, I want a campaign to go on for that individual, that this individual is going to load into your account. So we're going to make sure we tag everything, and then all of their information is going to go in here too, so you know who's ordered these things. Okay, so you got a form that they're going to fill out. That's it. And then your client's information is going to go in here, and the request and which client it is over here that they want the campaign to go on for. Okay. Now, once that gets filled out, an entire copy of what happened here in this form is going to go dump into this person's account, back into the sub account. So it's going into there because all of this person's clients, right? All of these people are in their account. So this all has to happen out of this person's account, right? If I'm going to turn a drip campaign on for one of my clients, and I want to automate this as much as I can, sure, I could physically go into this account and turn it on. Sure, I could. And maybe it's easier, but if you can just get them to fill out the form, once they fill it out and say, I want this client to get this workflow, then it automatically does all this. So it's going from here to here, where it's going to copy into their account, and then it's going to automatically turn on. So that's what we're doing. Your job is going to be creating a form and a workflow. They probably already have workflows in their account, either that you've added to it or they did it, right? So, you got to just get this trigger going for the workflow that you want this client to get. So whatever workflows you're offering, that's the key. You got to make sure you know what workflows are you going to offer to turn on. So make sure you've got that down before we start the whole process. All right, I'm going to get back to the rest of the video. So first of all, what I wanted to do is show you the form. He sent me his form. I created one somewhat similar to it for my niche. But basically, what he wanted to do was have his main account have a form in it that he could send out to his clients and say, if you want to basically sign up to have a workflow for us to turn them on for you, then you can just sign up on the form. Well, that's great because we needed something to help trigger it. So here is an example of his form. He works in the beauty industry for like spas, med spas, and things like that. So he created this form that just had an email. And then this was an example. So he had 3 different products basically that he wanted to allow people to pick from with regard to the campaign. So if somebody wanted to sign up for a facial, anyway, he would turn it on for the people, for his clients that are in the sub accounts. And so we have a couple things going on here, right? We have 2 accounts we're dealing with. My main, or your main account. I'll start talking about me in the first person here in a second, but your main account that you normally do all of your business out of, and then the sub accounts of your people. So we have to get that lead, the 2 accounts talking to each other is basically what's happening. So he set up this. We're not going to put all these because I don't think it's necessary. And we even talked, as I talked to Dan on the phone, he's got, how would you like it? Do you just want a drip mode? Do you want to send it all at once? I think this is adding more to it. We don't need to. You certainly can do this. And then we would have to tag and do an if else and all that. But I think we're just making it harder on ourselves. I really think that if you're going to send campaigns for somebody, just have separate campaigns set up and they can pick them out of the list. They pick out the one that they want. So it might make it easier. And then he's got a target audience in here, which again could be something if you want to, again, add another layer to this. It's just a little more setup if you're going to do all that. So I'm going to show you how I made it easy in my world. And then he put a launch date. So he basically said, okay, sub account user, who is the main sub account users that he has are going to fill this form out, right? And they're saying, I want this to launch. I want this workflow to start running on a certain date. Okay. So he put that in and I like that. So I put that in too. So now I am going to show you, because I built this this is his form. I ended up building one of my own that was very similar to this, but I just stripped out a couple things because I just wasn't sure it was all necessary. So hopefully you understand what we're doing. Our main guy, the agency owner, wants to be the one to turn on the workflows because he thinks that his clients, and I'm in agreement with him, are not going to want to have to get in here and turn them on themselves. So he's offering a service to do it for them. And so what we have to do is if they fill out a form that's in his main sub account, it has to communicate with that person's sub account. So even though they may never log into their account, it's still going to turn on the campaigns as he wants in their sub accounts, right? Because all of their sub accounts have their contacts in those, right? We can't do it out of our main account because I don't have his client's contacts in my account. Does that make sense? So we have to have the 2 accounts talking to each other. Okay. All right. So first thing we're going to do, by the way, I'm a workflow specialist. This is what I do for the real estate industry. I have written lots of drip campaigns and workflows for the real estate industry. I have my own agency for them. But so I basically built this up for the real estate industry so you can see what I did. Okay. So this isn't going to be 100% automated because you as the agency owner have to do a tiny bit of setup, just a tiny bit. And then once you do that, it'll help. Okay. So I created a form that I'm going to say use for my sub account users who are all real estate agents. And so what they're going to do when they get this form, and they will have this handy if they want to use it, and I want to have them do it. I love this idea. I might even take it on myself, but I created it to see how it's going to pan out. And so what they're going to have to do in order for this to work is that we have to, first of all, set up a workflow that's going to identify who this user is. So I have 2 things going on here. On this form, when the user, the sub account owner, comes in here and says, I want to start this, they have to put in their ID profile number in here because that way we can then say anytime that profile number shows up in this area that it will automatically copy basically this contact information into that account. Okay, so into that sub account. So this form only has 4 things on it. This one here, the ID profile number, is what I created. I created a custom field for this. I actually have a whole folder, which I'll show you in a second, that I set up for the 3 custom fields. I only needed to put the email in here because what's basically going to happen is when the person fills this out, after I get the initial thing set up, it's going to basically just send it into the people's account based on only the email, because we're assuming the people are already in that sub account already. When I say the people, I mean like the subscribers, right? And then we've got the campaign type. So if the campaign type is whatever, now in my case, I've got campaign types for real estate. So I just threw a few in here, but I ended up having to break this down by each one of the different workflows that I have set up that I wanted to. Now I have over 30. I only did samples here. I'm not putting all 30 in here for this, but you get an idea of this, right? So I ended up making 2 different campaigns for buyers, 2 different campaigns for sellers, and then one for a sphere and one for the video holiday campaign, right? Okay, so you put basically in this area, depending on what your business is, what your services are, whatever the workflow is that you want to have turned on, that's what you're going to pick here, right? Okay. So the person that's going to fill this out is going to be the sub account owner. Okay. So the sub account owner, they knows they want this to go on automatically. All they got to do is you give them the form, or you create a landing page for it, put the form in it, and then you send it to them. Now they have to know their profile ID in order for this to work. So initially, once they say to you, I want to do this, there's initial setup for this for you so that it will work. Once you set it up once, it should work from now on. Okay. All right. So I hope I've laid this out to you. So first things first is we need 3 different fields, right, that are going to add to the form. So you can either create the form, there's 4 here, but that's a standard field. These are custom fields. So you have to decide what is it you want to put on here, or if you want to trigger a campaign. Now, you could do this. I mean, if you don't want to trigger a campaign, you want to do some of the reason for doing this, you certainly can do that. Right now, our goal is to trigger a campaign in someone else's account from my own account. Okay, so here we go. So the first thing you do is get your form ready, right? So I'm not going to really go into creating forms because I hope y'all know how, but I'll go back a screen just to show you. I am in my forms, and I just went in and I built one that's called SFY, which means send for you, campaign sent for you. And this is to copy to a sub account, okay? And so basically, anybody who fills out this form, the information will load into another sub account. It loads into mine and it loads into theirs. Their information will load into it. So let me show you how this works. So let me go and go to preview. So if I fill this out, I'm going to put an ID number in here. So what I'm going to be putting in here, if I'm the sub account user, and I want you, agency owner, to turn on a campaign, I'm going to go into my sub account. Let me go back out. And just for people who don't know this step, you're going to go into your settings if you're the sub account user. And you're going to have to probably show your people where to get this. Could you put it on a menu over here and all that? You can, but it's not that hard. If they go to business profile, they can grab that sub account number right there. So the number that's going in there is who the sub account owner is. This is the sub account owner's ID number, right? So I'm going to, whoops, I need to actually go to a live version of that. That would help. I'm going to paste it in. Now I'm going to put my contact's email. So now who do I want in my account? I'm the sub account owner. Who in my sub account do I want to be sure that the drip campaigns are turning on for, or the workflows? So I already have people in my sub accounts. We're assuming these are already in there. In the event you don't have them in there already, you might want to put their first name and last name and all that stuff in here. If that, sub account owner doesn't already have them in there, then you might want to put their names in. I'm not, because I'm just going to assume people signed up to have this service and they're already in your account. So we already, and they've already got these people in their accounts, but totally up to you what you want to put here. But right now I feel like I personally don't need it. I'm just going to put an email in here of somebody I already know. Now this is the incoming account. I'm going to have an outgoing account, which is my own main account, and then the incoming account is my client sub account. Okay, so I'm going to assume they're already in here. If I go out to my contacts, you can actually see I've run some tests in here to make it come through. So I'm going to pick this email right here because that was one I tested it on. Whoops. And I'm going to send it into this. This is the person inside of the sub account of the incoming account that I want the campaign to go on for, if that makes sense. Okay. So I need that email because that's the one that I need to make sure is getting copied in here correctly. So, okay, so now I'm back to the form. I'm going to put that person's email in here. Now the campaign type. So sub account user is now saying, I want Patti, the agency owner, to turn on the buyer nurture campaign, or re-engagement campaign, okay? And I want her to launch it on the 2nd of January, okay, whatever. All right, now again, I haven't made this form very pretty, so just understand. I'm going to hit button and send it in, okay? There's nothing magical about this form right now. I didn't do anything fancy because I'm doing it for training, okay? All right, now that lead is, now conceivably what happened is, now I'm going into my own account, my own sub account as the agency owner. I'm in here where I manage everybody, right? So if I come here, I should have this contact in here, right? And I'll show you, I'm giving you all these steps and then I'll show you how I did it. So the contact came in, and let me put that email address in so I can find them. There they are. So they're in here, right? And so what happened when they filled the form out, right? They filled out the form was submitted. And if I scroll down, I have a whole section down here that is, let's go down here. Hello. That says form, says right here, I have two, ignore that one because that was a test. This one here is the one. So you'll see right here that the info filled out. The ID information came in, the campaign type came in. So these are custom fields, okay? So when you're filling out, you're creating your form, you've got your custom fields. So you can either build them in advance in your settings area or build them at the time you're creating your form. So your settings, just for those of you who haven't done this yet, you'll go over to your custom fields and get those built. And I actually set up a folder for myself. I'm not 100% sure if having the folder was what caused the glitch, but I'm not going to mess with it right now. I'll explain to you later what happened. But I'm in here. I have these three things. These are the three fields, right? Okay, so I just show you that. But how did all this happen? Okay, how did I get it from, so when I come over to the new account, if I go back out here, I'm in the incoming account now, right? The incoming account got all the information. Okay, so here it is. And that happened as a result of me setting up a copy flow where you can copy a contact from one account to another. And so that's what happened. So it came in, but unfortunately the custom fields didn't pull in. However, the tag did. Okay, so I had to set a tag up. All right, so I wanted to give you this whole lowdown first because in order for the rest of this to work, you had to understand what was going on, right? We had to get those fields set up. So where did we start? So I'm going to go back out. How did I set up the workflow for this? I know this is kind of long-winded, but I feel like I want to train people or help people that don't really know anything, really, if you're brand new to this. And I don't know where you're at in the continuum of learning. So I'm constantly learning every day. I mean, it took me a little while because I was having issues with this. I had a contact and it wasn't my fault. So there's something wrong with it. But anyway, so back into my main agency account where I am doing all of this in, right? My account. I'm not in the agency. I'm in a sub account of mine where it runs all of my business. Okay. So what I want to do is go to the automation and show you what I set up. All right. Okay. So now we're going to take a look at the workflow. So if someone fills out the form that is in my main account, and let's go back to that form real quick. They're filling out the form for the profile account number for that sub account. So that's the sub account user who's filling this out. They're putting in the email address of the user in their account that they want to get this drip campaign or workflow. They're picking out the workflow that they want, which in my case, I have 6 or so here. I've got only 3 samples set up in my account, so I'll show you that here, but whatever you put here. And then a launch date. Now the launch date is a custom field, and because the custom fields aren't passing through right now, and I'll explain that in a second, that will come in handy later, or it'll come in handy for you now. You could automate it later when the custom fields are coming through, but I'll show you exactly what I mean by that. Okay, so let's go look at the workflow again one more time inside of here. So, in fact, one more time. Okay, let's look at the workflow inside of my main account. So this is the outgoing account. This is the account where the form was filled out inside my account. When that gets filled out, which is right here, it's going to trigger this workflow to start. From there, it's adding a tag. It's a global tag that I created called SFY campaign. It's not specific to any campaign. It's just going to trigger things going on in the other account if I need it to. The next thing is going to be a routing. So what this is going to do is actually set up the account. So you have to, this is your only manual thing you have to do when you get somebody new who says, in my case, an agent that's in my sub account, that's a sub account owner and agent who signed up for my SaaS, and they have a whole database, right? So I want them to get the ability, they want to sign up for me to do this for them. So I have to come in here manually and add in their information. So if you look at the lead routing information, you can see here, this is Patty's real estate account, right? That's the real estate agent. This is the profile ID for that account. And then I would do it for every new person that says they want me to help them. So it's really easy to do that if you just go here and you can duplicate this branch. And then once you got that duplicated, here's one I added so you can kind of see what's in here. You're just going to basically put their account ID in. So every time you have a new person, you'll add their new account, okay, ID. So that's got to go here. And so that will get things coming. So when the form gets filled out, what it's doing is when they put their account ID in here, it's going to come into the workflow and it's going to say, is it that person? If it is, then keep going. Okay. All right. Now, here is what's going to happen. Our whole goal about this whole thing is to copy all the information in from that form over to the sub account user so that it will trigger everything on. So in the perfect world, we would have just gone from here to copy contact. Had the custom fields work, which they are not, we have to do this based on the actual campaign itself. So let me go down and show you what I'm talking about. Let's pretend none of this up here is here. If I go to copy contact, this is what we're going to do. We're actually adding a step. Let me back out and I'll show you. We're adding a step at this point, and I could conceivably do it right here by just, let me just show you. I could do it here if the custom fields are working, but they're not. So from here I would go copy contact, right? And when you do that, you pick out your account that it's going to, and it's that person's account who filled out the ID, right? So this is you doing this manually. You have to set this up once. So we know if that ID shows up in the form, it's going to be added to that person's account. Add tags to the sub account. So yeah, I want to add and copy all the tags. So I would click all this stuff and you could add tags. You could copy all tags will be created in the selected sub account and mapped to the copied contact. So basically what that means, any tags that are in your account, existing account, are going to get sent over there as a result. But you're gonna, what I want you to do is actually pick out the tags that you've added. Now this one here, we definitely are going to do this because that helps. That's like the global tag, right, that I added for anybody who signs up. So I know in my own account that somebody signed up for it. I also want to add in the tag related to the actual workflow. So that's why we had to do it this way, because if these custom fields were working, they're not passing through right now. I've advised HighLevel. They are looking into it. They don't know what's wrong. So I'm waiting to hear from them. But in the meantime, it's okay. We have a workaround, and we're going to trigger everything on the other side based on the tags. So what that means is, I'm going to cancel this. So that was just kind of showing you how it worked. I already did it down here. And if you look at this, this one is specific to the buyer re-engagement campaign. So for each one of the different campaigns that you want to get, that you want to provide, in my case, I'm just giving you 3 examples of the 6 that I had. I have 1, 2, 3 here. I'm going to put that tag in because that's kind of a global thing and that works for me inside of my own account. But this one is the one that's going to trigger the campaign to go on in the other account. So you got to add that. But you'll notice I had to do it conditional based on which campaign they ordered. So these were custom fields, remember? So if I go to the condition, you can see the condition is based on that campaign. This condition is based on that one and this. And so basically that is the campaign type that came off this form. This form here, that is where it's coming from, right here. So when they fill that out, it's going to trigger or actually sort everything, you know, it's going to, this conditional sorting basically is going to occur, right? So you can just add all of the different workflows that you're offering to turn on for folks. In my case, I have 40. I don't know that honestly I would ever do that, but I have a lot for real estate, and they all kind of pertain to each kind of lead source that comes in for various different statuses and you know, all that stuff. But in your world, you may not have all that, and I hope you don't. It's a lot of work. But that's why I make the big bucks on this. No, I don't make big bucks. I wish I did. Anyway, so what you're going to do is set up the condition, and these are going to be all of your workflows, right? And you're just going to say, if the custom field comes in and it's that, then you're going to add a tag. And you do want to add a tag at this stage. I noticed that it doesn't pass through correctly if you don't. So add the buyer engagement tag. So this tag right here, okay, here's the key though. These tags that you have set up here have to match them on your incoming account. So every tag that you create for the different workflows inside of your main account, you want to make sure that you've duplicated them identically to your incoming account. So what I would do is have a like a snapshot or something set up so you're not having to reinvent this wheel, and you just push these all into their account and have it set up. You've got this workflow. Well, this is only in your account. And then you just need to have the tag set up in the other account so that when this gets assigned, it'll automatically recognize it, okay? Because when this copies, it's going to pass that tag over to it, okay? Okay, real quick, I just wanted to pop back in here and just, because I forgot to add this, but when you have new people that tell you that they want to have you send campaigns to them, you're just going to add them here. They're part of the conditions. Remember, I already added one here. So you just go to here and add their account. Just as a refresher, you're just going to go here and make sure you add them in. I would just clone this, duplicate the branch, change out their information right here, and you should be, this is their location, right? And then all you're going to do is just take this condition right here, and I would just copy it, copy all the actions from here, go copy here. Now you've got these. So the only thing you have to do is go down into each one of these copy contacts and replace the selected account with that person. So in this case, this one was called the Grazing Biz account. So I just need to locate them in the drop down here, and that's all you have to do. You don't have to touch anything else. The other thing I wanted to point out too is if you wanted to trigger the delay, you could do that on this side. Currently, the date of the launch is not passing through because of the custom field problem. So once that works, you could delay it on the other end if you wanted to by setting up an event. So I would probably, if I wanted to do that, I could at this point set up the delay right here or somewhere in here. I guess I would add the tag. Let's go ahead and add the tag. And then just put an event here. And that event is going to be the start date of the launch, right? So I would go here and go to custom field. And then I could pick the launch date out. So you go here and you go to the custom fields, and we go down, and I should probably just search the launch date. SYI, that's why you put these in here. It's way easier. Then I can just go to the launch date, right, and save the action. And then you would just wait until the launch date. So I'm going to put a wait here. And you could just put the wait. And that wait is going to be based on the event appointment time. And you're just going to actually do it on the exact time. So whatever that time is, that is set for that event date is when it's going to go. You could set it at a certain time if you want to, but that could also be set in the workflow so that it doesn't start until a certain time. But you know, this is only if you want to put the launch time in here. It's just totally something separate that if you want to do it, you could. But if I save that action now, I've got to wait to set it. So it won't copy everything over into that account until this event hits. So you would need to duplicate these on all of this, which is no big deal, if that's how you want to do it. And again, had the custom fields pass through, which the launch date's not passing through over there, I could have set it all up over there on the incoming account. But again, I honestly, the other way to do that is just to like make a note on your calendar and come in here and turn it on the day. If you want to do it that way too, you could. But anyway, once you get that set up, it'll automate for everybody. So I just wanted to be clear that you got that part down because I mentioned I was going to talk about it. Okay. So over here now, to get ready for it, I've got the 3 different campaigns, right? So I want to go into my campaign. So my first one is going to be a buyer nurture or a re-engagement campaign, whichever. And inside here, I want to make sure I have a trigger set up for that particular tag. Okay, so that tag is going to be my SFY tag. So I already did that here. You can see this is triggered based on that. And only when it sees this come in, and it's going to see it when I copy the lead over, right? And it's happening in the automation on my other account. And then it's going to trigger this one to go on. And so you'll do that for each one of your campaigns that you have. That's my nurture campaign. Let's go out and I'll find my, what's my next campaign? I'll do my buyer re-engagement campaign. So let's go here. Oh, I'm in the folder already. Hold on. I thought it was outside the folder. Now again, this is inside the Subaccounts account, right? So if they tell you they want to turn on a certain campaign, you got to go to their account and go and set this up for them if you want to do that. Or no, yeah, I mean, this should already be set up in a snapshot, right? Or however you want to do it. If it's already built in there, then you just want to go in and make sure that the tags match up. So you might have a little setup to make sure that the tags are set up in their account, right? For the different 3. Because now remember, I had to come in and set these tags up ahead of time. And this is the incoming account because they need to match the outgoing account, right? So, sorry, I did not mean to. I want to go back to the re-engagement campaign. I haven't done it in here. So I'm going to go to the re-engagement. And I want that trigger for the SFY re-engagement tag. That's coming in from the other account. Let's get that going. And then we'll add that trigger. And that's going to be a tag for the add the filter. That tag is added. That filter is. See how easy it is when you put these things in here? Now remember, I've already added these. I had to come in and do this on this side now, right? So I'm going to put that in, save the trigger. And then I'm going to save the account, save the workflow. And then the other one I did was the seller nurture. So let me go and do that. Okay, so I'm going in the seller campaign folder. I'm going to the seller nurture campaign. And again, you'll do this for all the different offers that you're doing. So if you've got various campaigns you're willing to turn on for folks, then that's what you want to do. So I'm going to go here and tag this again. This is triggered based on the seller nurture campaign tag. SFY. Seller nurture campaign. There it is. Cool. Save that. All right, so I have the 3 different workflows that I already had set up. Your client probably already has these set up, and if they don't, or maybe you've set them up for them, the goal here is just making sure that you, and I would actually make sure that you're clear on what these tags are. I'm the queen of trying to tag this stuff, so I'm going to put SFY, seller nurture, so I can see out at the main screen what I've done, so I know what these are. It helps you a lot to do that. All right, hit save. Okay, now what I'm going to do is test it out. Okay, so I'm going to go here and I'm going to fill this out. So the ID of that account user is this is their form, right? They're using this form. They're filling it out. There's my account. Now I want a particular person to get this. So let's pick out a person. I'm going to pick that person. And I want this person to get the seller nurture campaign. And the launch date, I'm just going yesterday. This doesn't really matter. I'm going to show you in a minute. If you want to set this up later when the fields are working, that would be nice. But I'm going to go ahead and click button. This isn't even, putting the launch date isn't even that important, honestly. It just isn't. But if you want to have it, it's nice. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to go back into their account, and that was and then go and look to see if this person showed up in this account, right? I want to just go, I could look there in the execution log, but I'm just going to go ahead and find them in here and see if the workflow came on. So I'm going to the contacts and find them. And there I am there. I'm in here all different ways as I'm testing on myself. Always do that. Test things, everything on yourself. So what I'm looking for is a tag for seller nurture, and I want to see if the seller nurture campaign came on. So let's go down and check it. Okay, so if I scroll down, first of all, I can tell here that something happened because that email went out. So that's a good sign. Scroll down in the tags. Of course, I've tested on this a little bit, so you see a few others. The seller nurture right there, right? The seller nurture. Here's the campaign. It went on. Cool. All right, so we got this done. The other thing I just want to be clear on, if I go back to the outgoing account, right, all of this should be tracked inside of the outgoing account for you. So you know that this has happened, right? So every time one of your users, does this, their information is actually going to load up in here as one of your contacts. That's how it has to work in order for that contact to transfer into the other one. So that's why I wanted you to have the SFY tag inside of your own account. Let me pull this up, because here, if you don't, you're not going to be able to track all the people that ordered this stuff, right? So these things, oops, that's not my account. Hold on a minute. Okay, so you're going to know that somebody ordered it, and when you go here, if I click on this person, this is, I mean, conceivably, this email address that's in here is actually the email address of the person inside of that other account, right? But that's because they asked me to help them out, so I had to get them in here first because it was my form, and then so they're in here, but I do have them tagged. So now, and I can also see, if I click on this right here, I can actually see all the information that came in from that. So I know which sub account this person is in. And let me just say this, if you don't want to track it by the ID, you could track it by the person's email address. What I was concerned about was they wouldn't put the right email address in that's attached to our account. So that worried me a little bit, for me to track them. So anyway, I was worried about that. So you just have to give them instructions on how to do that. Could you just tell them where they have to go? Absolutely, to get it, and then they always have it, right? And once they type it in once, it keeps popping up. I don't know if you noticed that, but it does. So you have a nice form that it's going to work with, and I think it's going to work out great. So yeah, and again, the problem you have here is that all of your clients that are signing up, their leads are going to show up in here because of the way this has to work, if that's how you want it to work, okay? So that's okay, because I could come here and just run a quick search for that tag, and I would find all the people that are involved with that. I could also run a search for the, not just that tag, but I could run a search for everyone that is in that particular person's account by running a search for the custom value of their account, right, of their account number. So then you can say, oh, I want to see everybody who's in there. So actually, let me do that, just because now I was starting to worry, because how are you going to track all this? So I'm going to go and see if I can track down the SFY. I want the account ID of that person. So whatever that account ID was, which is over in here. So if whatever that is, let's just pull it up really quick just so I can make sure. So I'm going to go to the settings. Let me run a search for it to make sure. So you can track everybody that you need to. Once you get people in here, you could save these searches. So that's probably what I would do. So if this is exactly that, I want to apply it. And everybody who has that, now I can go save as a smart list. And I would save that as, AZ Patti, whatever you want to call it, my Patti Sampson real estate account, SFY or whatever, I might even SFY this. You just got to put some sort of code on here so you make your life way easier on what's going on. So now I have it saved and I see everyone that I've helped, all of their leads. So I can exclude those from my own list of things that are going on in here if I have to, because these people don't really pertain to me per se. They pertain to your client, but you can group them up and get them out of here, and you can avoid searches with them and just say, you know, I want every search except those people, so that you make sure you're not emailing your clients' if that makes sense. All right, I know this was kind of long, but part of this was because even though Dan, who asked me for some help, knows kind of what's going on, the rest of you might not understand why we were doing this. And I actually think this is an amazing thing to do. And so if you can help others out and this is an easy way to do it, that's great. The other option would be for them to just have forms in their own account that they can fill out. And but then you still have to get it sent to you so you understand what's going on. I think it might be a little hard. I don't know. It's a possibility, but at least this way you can track what's going on in here, and it works really well. So anyway, I hope this helps, and we look forward to helping you out in the future. If you want any more help, contact me. You can reach me here on Facebook, Patti Sampson, Patti with an I, Sampson with a P. Or in my on my YouTube channel here. Okay, talk to you later. Have a great one. If you want any additional help, you can reach me right at the crmladyboss.com. crmladyboss.com, that's me. I can help you in just about any CRM there is out there, especially if you're in the real estate world. Don't forget, I got drip campaigns galore for any of the CRMs, including snapshots, and within EngageMore PRO.com for real estate. All right, we'll talk to you later. Have a great one, everyone.